Demons of Chaos are a weird faction. In single player, it's a choose your own adventure that some people really like, some people got bored of rather quickly, but overall I've heard positive things about it. You make your own character, you name them, you give them different body parts. It's pretty fun. It's a pretty nice time. All of your infantry is demonic, so they will crumble when they get rather low, sometimes making it hard to keep an army through close fights, because a close fight, mostly you're just going to end up with your lord, and you'll have to recruit 19 more units. Such is the life of demons. Not much about empire building, mostly about raiding, pillaging, and getting different gifts from different gods. So it's more of an adventure than a empire simulator. Demons of Chaos in battle are struggling. And they're struggling because they need an identity. They only have one legendary lord that's significant to them at the moment. It's Be'lakor. And while he is rather good, and some of their generic lords are quite good, it's after the lord slot that this faction really falls apart. As I mentioned before, their entire roster is demonic, meaning that none of it ever routes and comes back. It all fights until it dies, which is usually a rather swift occurrence after it falls below a certain threshold. The demonic crumbling, demonic instability is brutal in this faction, and their roster is quite expensive. They have a hard time taking points and holding them. Their units have a large speed difference, where it's like you want Nurgle units to hold points, but they take so long to get there that your Slaanesh and Khorne units that took them will already be dead, and the enemy will have reinforced the point by then. They also don't have a ton of shooting at the moment. Some blue and pink horrors of Tzeentch, but blue horrors don't have a ton of ammunition, and after that their options are limited. Also chariots they are lacking in, except for the Slaanesh ones, but chariots that crumble aren't particularly useful. So demons just struggle. They're one of the lowest tier factions in land battles right now. I imagine they are the same in domination. Yeah, not much else to say there. If you're fighting as the Demons of Chaos and you want to win, I guess have an incredible Lord Micro, because he's going to need to carry most of the game for you. Aside from that, really try to abuse some synergies, like do blue horrors and no. I was going to say, you could use that Tzeentchian blue fire to imbue fire weakness for the Exalted Bloodletters or something like that, but elite infantry in general is a little difficult to pull off. Try to get a combination of the best units from the meta at the moment, so for any of the factions, depending on what the meta is, at least you'll have access to some of their demon units. Can be pretty good. Can be. If you're fighting against Demons of Chaos, your biggest asset is just killing everything. I know it sounds silly, but ignore the Lord. The Lord is intense. The Lord is usually very strong, but if you kill the rest of the army, eventually they will get ground down, and the rest of the army is rather weak for the Demons of Chaos. I think the biggest mistake you can make when you fight this faction is to try and snipe their Lord. Be'lakor himself is especially tanky, but also single-entity flying lords, which all of these guys are pretty good at dodging missiles, can select their own melee fights, and I think you're just wasting a bunch of your time tracking them around the map. Just kill the entire army, force them into you, and then 1,000,000v1 Be'lakor will eventually lose. So, yeah. Just kill their front line. It's really squishy. Roar!
Subscribe, yes, yes.